you've obviously done a lot of planning as far as how you go about transforming your bank into a digital bank. Can you talk to me a little bit about your
Yeah.
approach in the planning process?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we have. Thanks, Andrew. It's good to be part of the conference, and thanks again for the invitation. Look, we've got a very robust strategic plan, 2025 strategic plan that really sets out, exactly what we're trying to achieve and how we're going to go about achieving it. We actually just had a session last week with our board, refreshing that in light of our sort of aspiration more recently to kind of become more of a Pan-Pacific regional bank, and we think that's a really positive thing for PNG to have a homegrown domestic bank, if you like, going offshore. But look, I guess our whole objective around innovation and particularly digital technology is you can draw back to our vision. So, our vision as an organisation is to be the most dynamic, progressive and accessible financial services company in the Pan-Pacific region, proudly domiciled in PNG. And, PNG sort of, I think, lagged other developing nations with respect to the emergence of digital technologies. And we've got an opportunity now to play catch up quite quickly. I guess the acquisition of ANZ retail business was really the catalyst for us because, a lot of people go, oh, well, you bought ANZ, so, you're a much bigger organisation. Actually, no, we're not. We bought ANZ purely to get a branch network that was across the country. Because prior to that, we were very restricted in terms of market opportunity. We were only in Port Moresby and Lae, and that was a function of acquiring Maybank, back in 2015 when we actually listed. But having that branch presence across the entire country just gave us the platform to be able to take our services into those, provincial locations before. And it also gave us the opportunity to build our capability out. Part of that acquisition, we spent close to 65 million Kina on upgrading our systems, upgrading our platforms, and to be able to bring some of these emerging digital technologies to PNG. And we've achieved that. And look, pleasingly, the growth in terms of the uptake of these digital platforms by our customers has just been huge. I mean, probably partly helped by the pandemic. People are a bit reluctant to go into traditional branches as they have done in the past. But, we launched Kina Connect, which is our USSD platform, about 12 months ago, and we've had over 100% uplift in transaction volumes through that platform alone in the last 12 months from a standard.
That's mostly phone banking, Greg, is it?
Yeah, so USSD is sort of the traditional SMS type banking, which, is kind of high in demand here because a lot of people don't use their phones as smartphones because, the cost of data is prohibitive. And it can pretty much do everything that a smartphone app can do. It's just standardized sort of SMS type formatting. And in sync with that, you'd be aware, I'm sure, social media in PNG, I think we have one of the highest rates of social media usage per head of population in the world. And one of the biggest platforms is WhatsApp. So we're actually we've developed it, we're about to pilot a WhatsApp banking channel as well for that reason, because it's just another medium for customers to be able to access our services. So USSD, Kina Connect being amazingly successful. And then we've done quite a lot of enhancements to our smartphone mobile banking app as well. And in line with how you've seen that develop in, more Western markets like Australia, New Zealand, etc., a lot of that is more about self-service.
So how have you approached introducing this technology to your consumers? I guess even though it's been proven in other markets, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be adopted and taken up in PNG. Have you had to do much customization or adaptation to get the products adopted by your customer base in PNG?
Yeah, we've kind of approached it from a couple of angles. One, obviously, online surveys with customers to kind of get feedback about what they would like to see and what they would like to do. Because, my experience in banking is you can make it overly complicated, and banks are notoriously bad at sort of engineering new products and services around the way they operate, as opposed to what actually customers want and how customers want to use it. And the wonderful thing for us with our platform, our core banking platform, for example, and our mobile apps, they're very simple and very easy to access. And we want to maintain that simplicity. We don't want to get overly complex in our offer and just end up confusing customers or them not knowing, how they can access our services and use them. And we're just doing actually a significant upgrade to our website for that reason, to make it considerably more user-friendly and to enable customers to basically open accounts or apply for loans digitally online, and then we can start, the process from there. We've actually got an electronic Know Your Customer proposal with the central bank at the moment for approval, and that's going to significantly, that is a huge game changer for the PNG financial services market, because it means that customers will be able to switch like that, where, that they see a better offer. They'll be able to basically onboard themselves through their mobile phone, upload their identification, and be able to transact within 5 minutes. The test for us is this new remittance platform, which I think I've talked to you about previously, which we've now branded as Exchange, powered by Kina Bank. The beauty of that is that you don't actually have to be a Kina Bank customer to use it. You can just upload your identification details and transact, as I said, within sort of 5 minutes of accessing the app. I think the whole aim for us at the moment, so back to your question around the customer forums, we've had numerous workshops with customers just to road test the technology that we're planning and how they would intend to use it. And I think that's been hugely beneficial. But we're getting ready to kind of ride the wave, because, as data costs in PNG come down, the usage of smartphone technology is going to increase exponentially.
I wanted to ask you about the culture within Kina Bank and how you encourage a culture of innovation within the bank itself. What's been your approach?
Oh, look, the challenge for us, obviously, culturally, is the number of different organisations that we're made up from. Starting with the finance company that Kina was, to Maybank, to ANZ, and combining, that into the existing Kina Bank culture as well. But we've done this really through values. So we run periodically culture workshops across the organisation, bring our teams together, mix them up a little bit depending on where they work across the organisation as well. But a lot of the innovation, one, has come through the way we manage our programs of work. So we don't have a centralised project management office like a lot of companies do. We have smaller, more agile project teams that actually sit in the business. So, for example, a lot of our digital programs sit within our banking business, which is headed up by Lisieli Taviri. She has a program team that are responsible for delivering a number of digital projects that will benefit our customers. Likewise, around lending and loans origination, that sits with Arsinana, who's our EGM for lending. She's got a program team designed around online loan origination services and all those kind of things as well. But where we've got the most leverage is actually through our core values. So we have a set of values we call FIRST. Fairness and honesty go without saying. If you work for a bank, we want you to be fair and we want you to be honest. Respect, inclusion, and and diversity, and all those sorts of things are important for us as an organisation. But it's the three in the middle that are the most important for us, and play to innovation. So I stands for absolutely that. It stands for imagination. So by that we're saying we want our people to think outside the box, to think about to think about alternate solutions, to not just accept the way we go about doing business is the way we want to go about doing business in the future. And imagination is really, we don't want 700 robots. We want people that actually are thinking about how they go about doing their job and challenging mainly our internal processes. to improve that and to make sure that we're delivering the best possible customer experience that we can. The next one is R for reflection. So again, it's kind of, before you point the finger at somebody else and blame them for things that are not going the way that you would like them to go, take a look in the mirror and do a little bit of self-reflection around what could be better. Don't blame the management or the shareholders or whoever it is that you want to blame in that particular moment. What could you do to deliver a better outcome? And what might that outcome actually look like? And then the other important factor, particularly for banks as they get bigger, is we don't want to end up with, several silos where people are working within respective distributes and not connecting. So the T in FIRST stands for that together. And we talk about that a lot. If there's a customer that you're dealing with, don't send an email and expect a response. Call them, contact them. And likewise across the organisation as well. We drive this mantra around, urgency and execution. And the agile teams I talked about earlier has really enabled us to deliver new technology, new products, new services much, much quicker than we would have ever been able to do previously. And a lot of that is driven around culture, and we've got a long way to go. Culture is a 10-year journey, but we've come in there, I think, leaps and bounds over the last sort of 18 months, but since the ANZ aspect.
The other aspect, I guess, about innovation is skills, and whether you access those skills or build those skills and capabilities within your organisation, or whether you choose to partner. It seems to me that you're actually doing quite effective strategic partnerships in order to help you achieve some of your goals in this area.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, as part of our sort of strategic plan that I talked about earlier, there's kind of 5 stepping stones to get to this, dynamic, progressive, accessible financial services organisation. I mean, the first was bricks and mortar. We needed to have a footprint across the country. We've got that. There's still many more locations that we want to go into, which, is expensive, and you need scale to be able to do that. The second was around building out our digital capability, and we're well progressed with that so that customers can access and use us digitally as well. But the next 2 are very much about strategic partnership. So as an organisation, we decided we don't need to do everything ourselves. And why would we want to do that? We'll partner with other organisations. We've got what we call Bank as a Service model. That's enabling smaller organisations to access and use our infrastructure. We do, as I mentioned earlier, pretty much all of that type of support from my bank. We're talking to PISA and NCSL at the moment about providing similar services that would enable us to increase their domestic sort of banking capability as well. And then the bank as a partner model, which is the one that you're touching on. So, the work that we're doing with NewPay around the payment platform, they're the front end of it. We provide the payment gateway. It's working exceptionally well. We're talking to a number of large public sector organisations at the moment about providing that particular service. Xero, we're now just launched that platform for our SME and commercial customers. And that's an accounting software program, a New Zealand company that we're really excited about. We're doing that in partnership with them. Everest is the partner that we have for the remittance platform exchange, which hopefully will be launching later this year. So yeah, it kind of makes sense, and it means that you don't have to fund the whole thing yourself, because a lot of these new platforms are incredibly expensive from a capital expenditure point of view. You can go into partnership and bring them to market sooner. And for us, we're trying to create an organisation where it's actually not just about being a banking customer. You can access these services even if you don't bank with them. It just gives them another alternative, another option, if you like.
So we're looking ahead, reading between the lines, or maybe it's not even in between the lines, it was actually explicitly stated in your latest financial announcements, is the suggestion or the idea you want to plant in the mind of your investors that your growth is absolutely inextricably connected to digitisation. Yeah. And to launching more and more digital projects, not just revenue growth, but also improved bottom line for the bank as well. Yes. So how far can this innovation take you, do you think?
Oh, look, we're on a huge journey here. I mean, we have, you talk about culture, again, we've got a bit of an internal mantra around this, which is, yes, we have an aspiration to be a digital bank, but we need to be digital from the inside out. So it's all very well for customers to be able to access this digitally, but a lot of our focus at the moment is around our digitalising our internal processes as well. I talked about digital loan origination. The ability for you, if you want to apply for a personal loan, to basically do that online, upload all of the information that you need to, and we will guide you through a checklist in terms of what you need to do. And then, for smaller facilities, it'll be auto decision. The AI, if you like, the artificial intelligence will make the decision based on your credit history. There'll be no human intervention at all. Then that will go to production of documents and the money in your account within 24 hours. That's aspirationally where we want to go. It's not easy because you've got to unwind a lot of existing manual processes that you have in place. I talked about, imagination. We don't want our staff to be robots just accepting that process is the way it's always been and therefore should be the way it always will be. A lot of those processes will be digitalised, and that's sort of the trajectory we're on at the moment.
Is there a question of coming across two separate kinds of spirit, if you like, or nature? You need to be conservative, you need to be managing your risk adroitly particularly in times of crisis, but at the same time, innovating at speed creates its own risks, doesn't it?
I would
say
yes,
risk.
We are a conservative organisation on a lot of fronts. I mean, we're in a highly regulated industry sector, the central bank, the Securities Commission, and so forth. So, we have to ensure that whilst we're doing this innovation, we're keeping the regulators informed about the things that we're doing. Anything that we do in that respect does require approval from the regulators, particularly BPNG. So it's important that we have that close relationship. And I would say that they've been incredibly supportive. They certainly see digital as a way of the future, and they're very engaged around that. They have what we call regulatory sandbox to try and test new technologies, and that's really exciting. So, yeah, look, you make a very valid point. Governance first and foremost. We are a bank after all. We're listed on 2 stock exchanges. We need to play by the rules and make sure that we're not sticking our neck out and being careless in the process.
So I'm just wondering, if you look forward into the future of Kina Bank, Greg, is there a target you set yourself or an event that you're looking at in the future which will be the sign to you personally that Kina has become the digital bank that you envisage it turning into?
Yeah, I think it'll be through efficiency. There's a whole bunch of financial metrics that we've set for ourselves to achieve. And this again has been a challenge for us culturally and something that we've addressed head on, because a lot of people think by digitalising processes and customers transacting with us digitally that we won't need as many staff. I mean, that's not the case at all. It just means some of those jobs that we currently have will change. And we want more people customer facing. We want more people in our branches. We want more feet on the streets, more Kina Bank staff actually out there in the community, as opposed to sitting in the back office, pushing paper or punching data into computers and laptops and so forth. So, it's a case of, and hence why actually we have our entire people and culture function sits under our chief transformation officer for that reason, because the nature of our workforce will shift and change as we become a more digital orientated organisation. I had to laugh the other day, and not to bag out the Australian banks, but I went online, to the Commonwealth Bank, and they have this AI program that says, well, I can help you out. What is it that you would like to talk to us about today? And then straight away you put something in that's a little bit outside the box, and it defaults to, oh, you need to talk to a human. I'll just put you through to a human, and you can engage with a human. It's kind of like, oh, that's a bit scary. That's a bit weird. We're not going to go down that path. You ring us up, you will still talk to a Kina Bank staff. member. You won't be talking to any artificial intelligence or anything like that. We would still want to keep that personal flavour in terms of our customer service proposition in place.